London made, East Coast train. Yeah, I like that. London made, East Coast train. Love for my city, but how I was raised. Worship the Mecca, pray to the east. Made my first hardship.
Open season.
18,
I'm the Demon. I'm here with LTtheMonk.
Yes.
Very pleased to be with you, man.
Thank you for having me.
Right off the bat, I want to congratulate you on all the success you've had in the last year.
Thank you.
Coming to this city. Haven't only been here now for, roughly 2 years?
Yeah, 2.5 years.
2.5 years?
Yeah.
And honestly, man, a lot of guys that have been here that have been doing the work have not even touched some of the things that you have in the span. So I admire your hard work and your hustle, man.
Thank you.
With that being said, though, what was your first introduction to Hamilton hip hop?
My first introduction was so I came here and I had the music,
Yeah.
but I knew that for people to hear the music, you had to be performing, had to be out there.
Yeah.
So I was trying to find any opportunity that I could, but then it was a guy called Andrew Amoa who was hosting a variety show at the Corktown. And I saw the poster that he'd posted, and it was just like rappers, singers, any talent you got,
Yeah.
come perform. So I messaged him, said I'm a rapper, I want to perform. And then from there, I met, in that same night, I met Hoss Bowman.
Nice.
And I met Judah Jump. So then I was introduced to their, like Judah, you know, he was hosting
Yeah.
DJ Electronic Nights. So I was introduced to that. And then through him, I met all the other younger rappers like
Yeah.
K Triggs and Vittori, which introduced me to Smoothie Lou and everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I think it was meeting like the older guys like Lee Reed and Mother Tarika. I think that was, maybe that was when I went to see the Smith & Wesson show
Oh, yeah.
at This Ain't Hollywood. I feel like it was then. And then, because I think Lee and Mother Tarika were opening.
Yeah.
So then I met them through there. So yeah, it was kind of like meeting all the different age groups and different scenes throughout the different shows. And then eventually it just came together to a point now where I feel like I know
Yeah.
someone from every different group.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. My first introduction to you, I think, was through a Good Apollo show.
Oh, nice.
I think we were on the same bill. I was
At,
on
the
later
the
on.
Casbah?
At the Casbah, yeah,
Nice.
when he was doing those. So that was my even first introduction to all those guys that you were mentioning as well.
Yeah.
I see you've also branched out further than just the hip hop community.
Yeah.
I see you on the Supercross stage
Yeah.
and the art awards.
Yeah.
How did you get involved with getting more into the community and eventually getting the band?
I think it was really just my love of hip hop is so, like, for me, I was just the nerd throughout my like childhood years all the way through the teen years. I was just researching, and so it gave me such life force that when I was like, okay, I have an ability to rap and to perform, I wanted just to take it further.
Nice.
So for me, there was no stopping. It was just like, okay, I want to be the rapper that's on this stage and this stage and this stage. And then the band, just other Hamilton musicians that I would see performing. So we became friends, and then the four of us, I think people were like, oh, this is unique.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
different.
Totally.
It's a hip hop core, but then because we're delving into groove and electronic music and R&B and jazz, then other audiences that wouldn't traditionally come to a rap show, they were like, okay, we want to see you. And it was crazy, like when we did the Arts Awards last year, it's like a very like middle-aged crowd mostly.
Man. I was there.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So like we did Mix Kobe and we did Oscar, and then people at the end, they're like shouting.
They loved it. Yeah.
I'm just thinking, this is not what I thought my hip hop crowd would be.
For sure.
But as long as I can bring it, like still represent the culture, because like I am ultimately, I'm gonna go home today, I'm gonna cook dinner, and I'm gonna put on like the I Love 90s Hip Hop Spotify playlist.
Yeah.
And I'm still gonna be rapping with Grand Poobah,
Yeah.
CL Smooth, Nas, And I'm just like, this is my life force. So I just want to bring it to everyone else. So yeah, it really was just the love of hip hop that actually made it more than a hip hop audience.
Yeah, for sure. You hear that in your work, man. It's really good. Do you feel that your standard boom bap that is a main staple of the main core of hip hop here in Hamilton?
Yeah.
Do you think that the difference, one of the issues for us maybe reaching a wider audience is that we're not experimenting more into other genres?
I guess like it's
opening itself up to other audiences.
Yeah, I think it's tough because someone like Below the Border, Benny the Butcher, Griselda, that whole crew, they're all boom bap, and the hip hop community is big enough that there's a part that wants to hear that, and they'll still be able to have hundreds of thousands of fans and all of that. Yeah, I guess like when the scene is smaller, then that means that the people that want to hear like the old school gritty stuff is smaller. So yeah, it's more difficult to break out of it. But you know, being like an underground fan myself, that's what I always want to hear. Exactly. So like when I went to the first open season, and I think the DJ was playing Never Coming Home by West Side Gun. Yeah. And I was just like, this is exactly what the night is. Man. So I guess it depends, you know. It's like if you want to be bigger, then you have to experiment, take your sound out of it. But then if you know that this is your thing and you're going to represent it fully, then you can stay in the boom bap, and boom bap will live forever. For sure.
Yeah. That's that's something that I myself, when you get into this as a musician, rap especially, and even some of the other kind of relatable genres like punk, you gotta initially get hit with that. You're gonna do this for the love, a lot of it. You're not gonna get paid a lot of the time. And you might not even get the recognition that you feel like you can deserve. Like I've done so many shows that are in front of 2 people, and then I've done shows where they're much larger, and it's hard to gauge. In this city, I think one of the issues that we're all facing is, we were kind of discussing beforehand, is the venues. And one reason that was mentioned from a few other people is capitalism being a part of that. Do you feel like the city and what it has been going through has influenced what you're going to be making in music now?
Because I think I was telling Lee Reed about this ages ago when I released the King Strings and Hip Hop album. I wrote a song called The Hood or the Hipster, and it was all about because when I was growing up, I'd go through different places in London, and then my parents would be like, "Oh, don't go here. This is a scary place." But then, as I was growing up, I'd go there and I'd be like, "This looks way richer than the place that I live in," because the gentrification, the hipsterification. So I wrote the song The Hood of the Hipster because it was all about, you grow up in places, or you go to places which originally you thought were more grimy, and it changes. So I definitely think that my music will stay, my lyrics will stay political in that sense, and exploring it even more. But then I guess in terms of the venues, I guess that's another thing that I want to do. If I can be the rapper that, and venues going all the way up to Tim Hortons Field. If I can be the rapper that will bring out eventually as many people as the Arkells, then they'll be like, oh, hip hop does have money making potential, so people will come and see it. And then we can still do the classic hip hop thing of, we'll give out the free merchandise, the free ciphers, so people will know it's still for the love and you still feel that culture. But then the people that want to see the financial return so they can give us these venues, they'll be happy.
I'm going to go shift a little bit here into to more about you. So you didn't grow up in Hamilton, you grew up in London. And I just watched a few nights ago the little documentary that Haas did for you.
Oh, nice.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
So and just having recently been to London a few years ago myself, it was amazing.
Yeah.
So glad I got to go there. How was it growing up in London, and how did that was it North America that influenced your hip hop,
Yeah.
or was there a bit of
So it was
London style?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's funny because someone was asking me about this the other day, and it was one of my friends in the US. She wanted to know more about like London hip hop,
Yep.
and so there was a documentary that came out in '86, and it was called Bad Meaning Good.
Yep.
So I remember watching that, and it was just really funny for me because the London Posse, who were like the main stars of the documentary,
Yep.
Run DMC came, and you saw how Run DMC were the gods, and it was a classic like little brother, like, oh yeah, you work hard and you can be as big as us one day.
Yeah.
And so like I always loved my London shit,
Yeah.
and so I went, because you grow up and you're going through the Kano,
Yeah.
Skepta, Jamie, all of those rappers. So I would always, and I still now have the influence, and like the new generation, I love them as well, but definitely in terms of like the passion,
Yeah.
what you love truly, and it's not even a choice, it's just like what you hear and what hits you.
It's what you feel. Right,
Yeah,
right.
it was hearing Nas and hearing Jay-Z and hearing Tupac and Tribe Called Quest, and then just not only the music but being fascinated with the history, because and for me, like I was blessed because my parents both being teachers, they seemed to, as long as I was showing like an interest in something that had me like in books and in documentaries and all of that, they would support it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So, and my parents huge music lovers as well. So yeah, for me, like even though like the London culture was there and I was living in the city, so I was experiencing it, it would be me going home and watching a documentary on, okay, this is hip hop in '73, through to Rapper's Delight, through to the '80s, through to the golden age. So yeah, and so by the time I started making music myself, because I was writing rhymes from like 8 years old.
Yeah.
By the time I started making music myself properly when I was like 15, 16, then my style was just an East Coast style. And then that actually developed because a lot like you're saying, capitalism, like a lot of the class thing, I would always really get pissed off when you would have people who, say if you're like a classically trained pianist, you could come in and you could say, oh, I'm classically trained, or you could say, I'm trained in this. And it's like a respected system.
Right.
Whereas for us, it's kind of like, oh, you just rap.
Yeah.
Whereas when I'm talking to my rapper friends and then they're showing me their songs and they're asking about it, I want to be like, oh, well, you use this southern flow here, or you use like these more East Coast like metaphor simile style. So then by the time I was really grown, then I was like, okay, I'm London made, but I'm an East Coast trained MC. And then it developed into eventually the song and then the documentary.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to say thank you very much for coming out and being a part of this. And basically what I'm going to be doing is putting this online.
Sick.
Actually, it'll be funny because people will just hear me saying that. So if you want to just give a shout, like any promo, like where people can reach you online.
So you can find me any social media service, any streaming service. Just type in LTtheMonk, that is one word, LTtheMonk. My album King Strings and Hip Hop is out right now, and my new album has been fully written, will be recorded and released very soon. I think it's the best music I've made. It is a lot of love for Hamilton, a lot of my take on what the future will be like for me and for the state of Hamilton music, black music, hip-hop music. So I really can't wait to release that. I can't wait to release the first single. But for now you can check out King Strings and Hip Hop anywhere you listen to music.
Awesome. Thank you very much, man. I can't wait to hear the new shit.
Beautiful.
See you soon.
Yeah. Yo, this shit too fly, Johan. Turn this shit up. Yeah.
Johan made the beat.
Man, I be walking through these neighborhoods, thinking I should be scared and shit. But the only sensation I'm feeling is the scent of coffee beans, big creams, and fresh pressed skinny jeans. The fuck is going on?